Keith, thank you
Dina,
for being with us today.
it's my pleasure. Thank you very much for the invite.
So, Keith, what's your agency's biggest challenge this year?
I think our agency's biggest challenge for this year, it's really what I would characterize as market adaptation. I think we're dealing with a lot of clients that have a lot of uncertainty really around the market and basically what that means for the future for them. So we have clients that have money, but that's like they have their hand stuck in their pocket right now until they see something that looks like some level of stability in their respective marketplace. So our ability now to adapt and then sell differently, both tactically and strategically, is kind of where we now find ourselves and combating some of these different kind of headwinds. And these are challenges, quite frankly. We've been in business now for almost 30 years, over 30 years. We've never seen this kind of hesitancy in the marketplace. Um, but we're fortunate to be definitely flexible and adaptable, and we're making those appropriate changes to really make sure that we're responding properly to the market.
But how the role of recruiter changed in the last couple of years?
So again, so given what I've seen, um, I've we've in the most recent, call it maybe 12 months, we've looked at new technology. Everyone's talking about introducing different aspects of AI. And I think there was certainly a lot of hesitancy in order for a lot of corporations, in order for an organization to really embrace that. Um, we weren't different from that. Certainly being a data company that also does, kind of statements of work um, and staffing, we were a little bit really kind of just really looking at the landscape, trying to understand what that basically means. But for recruiters, um, the core responsibility of finding good quality people um, at a decent rate, both for what we like to characterize as a win-win-win, a win for the consultant, a win for the client, and then if they're both winning, we're winning. So, but I would characterize the last certainly 12, 18 months, we definitely see the role changing, meaning with the proliferation of tools and the advent of all these other things happening in terms of the market, um, we're focused on really making sure our team now is um, acutely focused on what we characterize as really the money making opportunities or those money making kind of candidates, meaning looking to tools to really do all the warming, converting them from cold contacts to warm, doing some level of pre-validation through automation. And then once candidates have kind of walked through that process, then they're handed off to an actual person to really kind of usher them through the rest of the process. Um, our team was a little bit, as everyone else, a little bit hesitant to that because they thought it was going to be something that was really going to now circumvent and maybe even eliminate their job. It doesn't eliminate it, it changes it. And now that we've done some of these things, we actually have the team now really, really gravitating, hey, when can I get the next one? Can I do this? They want to now be actively engaged and really the setup, the configuration, and really the proliferation of the information regarding the jobs that we now have, feeding the process rather than being reactive to it. So we're starting to certainly see the change management and change in the culture even within our own team in that regard. So I think in the next 12 months is really going to be even more dramatic. Um, so we're just trying to make sure that we're properly positioning ourselves both organizationally and making sure our teams are properly positioned to really basically be reactive to that.
Well, you are known for a long-term vision. So how do you ensure that the technology that you are choosing is helping you to achieve those goals?
Well, so that's a very great question. Um, the rate of technology change is so rapid now. I mean, you could really put in a technology stack and put it away and walk away. Now, this is one of those things that we are evaluating almost quarterly now. There's so many new things coming out that um, it really challenges us to really kind of be open to basically looking at new things, right? Even just walking around some of all the different trade shows, you would always kind of almost put your blinders up. It's just like, no, I don't want to talk to you, Mr. Vendor. I don't want to talk to you, Mr. Product Company. And now it's kind of like, we saunter through and we just kind of look and engage people in conversation for things that seem to be directionally correct. So I think really the degree that we can, staying actively engaged within the marketplace is what's important, seeing what's happening, and then being a little bit more open and receptive to really making sure that we are utilizing the right kinds of products that are really going to help support us for really the current state and then what we see the future state basically being.
That's great. Do you see any red flags which makes you stop looking at the vendor?
So red flags. So um, that's another great question. Everyone wants to work with Magic Quadrant tools, um, and in our site, in our history, we've seen the normal cycle, right? Put everything in, put everything out, put everything on premises, take everything off premises. I see some of the same things happening, even also when you start talking about really from a recruitment standpoint, even the technology stack and all the different vendors that are out there. Um, a lot of people really migrated towards companies that could really be a one-stop shop and be holistic in terms of their approach and finding complete end-to-end solutions for organizations. But what you start to see is when you start to look at organizations that aren't a part of that stack, they are uh, ahead of the curve a little bit. So there's okay, bleeding edge, leading edge. These some are bleeding, but leading edge is one of those things. It's just kind of like, companies are the ones you want to take a look at because it really challenges, champion challengers. So it challenges really the status quo of really some of the larger Magic Quadrant organizations right that are out there. So and they're more nimble. Um, and they're open and they're looking to really, really make sure that they can adapt to that. So we're working with integrating a product right now. We're in the process of completing a POC. I have never, we've done two in the last 6 months. I've never seen the degree and the level of responsiveness that we've had from both of these companies in terms of actively engaging both during business hours and after business hours. One of the persons that was the gentleman that was leading this was just like, man, I'm doing my normal day doing a job, but then I'll have to still bat down all these text messages and all these different exchanges because they're actively tailoring what they're doing to meet really our specific needs within our existing platform. Um, so I think to really answer questions, really having an acute awareness of really what's happening in the marketplace and not and doing it in what we characterize almost on a quarterly basis, just so that you kind of keep a pulse on things.
That's a very insightful, Keith. And my last question, how do you make sure that the technologies that you are bringing in, they are amplifying each other rather than just coexisting?
That's another great question. So in the end, the solutions that we implement or the things that we bring on board, they really have to really add core business value for us. Now, I have no problem with people if they can do that and gain some benefit themselves. I have no issue with that. But the most important thing still needs to be important, the most important thing. And we've been able to work with folks that actually understand that. Um, one of Going back to the same example, we working with a company that's for this POC, and we decide to go ahead and move forward. We tell them, well, fine, um, but we don't want any of your product monikers to show up on anything that we present or produce to our end client. They were like, no problem. So it's completely white label. That level of adaptability is not one of the things that we have historically seen. Everyone wants, to your point, they want see me. And they understand that if it's a win for you, it's going to be a win for them. And so we can appreciate folks that have that level of flexibility.
Thank you, Keith.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Dina.